The Toronto Maple Leafs are perfect so far without Morgan Rielly as he's serving his 5-game suspension. Auston Matthews is breaking records left and right, and we're going to touch on Ilya Samsonov. He might be back. He might be back. But guys, welcome back to another episode of Leafs Digest. My name is Darius Domingues, and we've noticed that about 80% of you are not actually subscribed to the channel. And you know what? We get it. You love the videos, you love the content, but sometimes you just forget to subscribe. It's all good, but if you want to support Nick and I, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything Toronto Maple Leafs. And you're going to want to down the stretch because things are going to get crazy. The trade deadline is less than a month away. It's just a few weeks away, and we know the Leafs are going to make a trade. But without further ado, let's get into this game. All right, it started off pretty interesting. I mean, the Flyers were running the Leafs out of the building for the first period at least, and a bit of the second. The Leafs did take control in the second a little bit, but the Flyers are honestly not that skilled on paper, but man, they are a bad matchup for the Leafs. They play hard, they play fast, and man, Tortorella has that team playing well. Let me tell you, they have some good weapons, and they know how to use them, and their penalty kill is just fantastic too, and that's what gets them on the board. You know, for the first goal, the Leafs were not looking good in the first period. And honestly, to get out of that first period with what it was is a good sign. The Flyers are a pretty good team this year, and I was thinking that this was going to be another Leafs game where they kind of bow out early in the game and that'd be it, and it'll just be status quo for the rest of the game. But not the case. At the end of the first period, a little bit of a scrum with the best defensive pairing ever, my favorite defensive pairing, in McCabe and Benoit. I mean, Simon Benoit, we've talked about it on the channel all season. This guy has been a revelation this year. I mean, coming out of nowhere, he's just, you know, just a pickup out of Anaheim. They didn't want to re-sign him. We thought, okay, he'd be a great depth guy. This guy has made a name for himself. He's secured a spot, I think, in the lineup for the time being at least. And he is playing well. And what is there to say about McCabe? That was a great pickup last year, too, for what they had to give up. And the fact that he is signed, you know, after last season, too. He wasn't a UFA, which was huge. And, you know, thoughts go out to McCabe as well. I hope your face heals because, man, you are taking some beatings the last couple of games. That nose does not look like it's ever going to heal, man. Like, he is taking some abuse. But, man, he is as tough as they come. I love those type of players. And I mean, I love the skill that the Leafs have too. Obviously with Matthews, we're going to get to in a second, but man, oh man, McCabe and Benoit, absolute nails. So there's a little bit of scrum there at the end of the first period. Love that. But you know, what a game to have Reeves scratch too. I mean, the Flyers have a couple guys in Hathaway and Delorier, who we're going to get to as well, that, you know, Reeves could probably do something, you know, if he was playing, but he was not playing tonight, and that's all right. I think he's a little bit of a liability at times, but what a game to not have him in. It's pretty interesting against the Flyers. But heading into the second, things were heating up a little bit, and this is where it picks up. All right, we saw Sheldon Keefe and William Nylander kind of getting into it. Nylander looked kind of frustrated, upset on the bench. This was really early on in the second, and Tavares, just poor guy over there. It looks like he has not fully recovered yet from whatever he was battling the last couple of days. But Nylander looked frustrated, and honestly, I like to see that. You know, the passion coming out through the coach and the player saying he's pissed off, and it's not that he doesn't want to listen to the coach, but, you know, I love those kind of, you saw it with Nathan MacKinnon a few years ago, just getting fired up with Jared Bednar as well. So I like to see that dynamic between player and coach. I like to see them both fired up because it means they care and they want to score and they want to win. And I think that's a good thing. I don't think that was a bad interaction. I think that was just a coach saying, hey, I probably need a little bit more out of you, which we ended up getting. And Nylander probably just frustrated. And I think that is fine. I think that is all great. And before we get to the superstar, of course, before we get to that, the main event, anybody else notice this? A little bit of all over the place in the net there, Samsonov. A little bit of Curtis Joseph. I'm glad somebody else said it. I've noticed it for quite some time. Samsonov has been good since he came back from his stint with the Marlies. It technically wasn't even with the Marlies. He was just practicing in the AHL. But he has been very good. I mean, the stats are what the stats are, but he's picked up a couple big wins for the Leafs, and he's been playing pretty well. He's been playing well enough to get them wins, and I think that's all you have to do as a goaltender. I think your team will or should take you the rest of the way, and he's been playing well enough. So that's really good to see. I hope he continues it, builds momentum into the playoffs because Joseph Woll is coming back. We'll get to that in a later video later this week, but still some question marks there, and obviously Martin Jones dealing with a minor injury right now. So, Samsonov grabbing the baton and running with it. Love to see that. So That's all fine and dandy. Now, we got to get to the superstar of the hour, Auston Matthews. Another hat trick. Another hat trick. His 5th of the season. We've never seen this by a Maple Leaf. This is insane. We've literally never seen this because he's setting records. All right. But one thing that caught my eye is this stat here. Goals when down by 1 this year. Auston Matthews, 15. And Jeff goes on to post more stats where, when you're down by 1 or tied. Auston Matthews, I think at this point with the hat trick, has 23 in the league. It is impressive. He scores when it matters. It's not just that he's scoring a lot. He does score a lot. 45 goals on the season. Come on. But he is scoring important goals when the team needs it, right? And I think that is, there's something to be said about that, right? So the fact that he's scoring, we know he's a superstar. He might be the greatest Leaf of all time. I mean, the stats are certainly, trending in that way, but yeah, just fantastic. And I mean, we're going to go through some more stats here. Auston Matthews, we've been tracking this for some time on the channel, and obviously they have on the broadcast. He sets officially the Maple Leafs record with his 72nd career multi-goal game, passing Daryl Sittler and some other great Leafs players. So that is fantastic too. Finally setting that record. He holds that in sole possession, and that is not easy to do. I mean, 72, let's pull this up again. 72 multi-goal games since his debut, I guess only 8 years ago at this point. Wow, he's already been in the league for 8 years, but that is impressive. That is hard to do, and to score as much as he's doing. I mean, he's scoring at a higher clip than Alex Ovechkin at the same age. That's impressive, and Ovi's only 60 goals away from breaking Gretzky's record. Impressive stuff. Really impressive. And Auston Matthews sets the Maple Leaf single-season franchise record with 5 hat tricks. No Maple Leaf in history before today had more than 4 hat tricks in a season. So that's crazy too, because it's only February. He has lots of time to get more hat tricks. This guy is an alien. Just the best player we've seen skill-wise in a Maple Leafs jersey. No doubt about it. We are witnessing, I don't even know if Leaf fans understand what they are witnessing at this point, right? It's unbelievable. And of Matthews' 12 career hat tricks, 12 already, and 5 this season, 9 have come on home ice. So majority of them on the home ice, and he owes a lot of people some serious money for hats because those hats are expensive. And every time he scores, there's a lot of them on the ice. I mean, look at Tuesday night when McMahon scored. Not as many hats. Still some hats on the ice, but when Matthews scores, everyone tosses their hats. And like I said, they're expensive, man. So love to see that as well. That's awesome. Seriously owes some people some hat money, that's for sure, especially this season. Lots of hat tricks to go around. Love that from Auston Matthews. And to go further, 45 goals in his team's in his team's first 52 games. Only happened 21 times in NHL history before Auston Matthews did it tonight. And the last time it happened was in 1996 by Mario Lemieux. So some great company there for Auston Matthews as well. And the fact that it's only happened 21 times in the 108 year history of the NHL is pretty impressive. And like I said, elite company up there with Mario Lemieux. This guy continues to set records. He's continuously getting better. And I just hope that he can continue it in the playoffs. He just needs a Stanley Cup in Toronto. If he gets that Stanley Cup in Toronto, he's going to be one of the greatest players of all time. He's already, like I said, on a better trajectory than Alex Ovechkin, which is crazy at the same age. Most goals per game in NHL history, and obviously this is so far because there's a couple guys on this list still playing, but Matthews moves into 3rd. All right, that is just absurd. Look at the click he's scoring at. That is crazy, man. Like, look at those numbers. Mike Bossy too. I mean, there are a couple guys on that list that hard to argue, and even Ovi's there. But like I said, Matthews just a little bit above that, just unbelievable. And if he continues to keep it up, if he stays healthy, he could be one of the best goal scorers of all time. I mean, some could argue that right now, but I think you have to look at the stats. There's a leaderboard, obviously, but I think, as some years go by, he might be one of the best goal scorers of all time. The clip that he's scoring at is unbelievable. Now, he's also the first Maple Leafs player to score a natural hat trick at home on home ice since Wendell Clark on November 9th, 1996 against the Edmonton Oilers. So that I thought that was a cool stat as well, because tonight's hat trick was also a natural hat trick. He hasn't done too many of those as well, and apparently no Leaf has done it at home in a long time. So that's another pretty cool stat. So what is there to say? Auston Matthews helped the Leafs win. I mean, it got a little scary there, just to wrap it up in the third period. Two really dumb penalties by Tyler Bertuzzi and Noah Gregor gets the Flyers right back in. I mean, the Flyers power play is great as well, and just gets them right back in the game. And I was getting a little bit scared because the momentum swung big time to the Flyers, but William Nylander, like I said at the beginning of the video, was asked to give more, and he gave more. Great play by Liljegren too to slow it down at the line, 2-on-1, send it over. And great shot by William Nylander. Nice to see him get on the board too, because there's been some criticism thrown his way too recently, and he's a great player, and I'm sure he's going to find it as well. But great goal from him, and a good game overall, and great for the Leafs to be 2-0 without Morgan Rielly, because everyone was talking about what are they going to do without their best defenseman. So far, so good. I mean, the game on Tuesday was fantastic. Tonight's game, a little bit scary in the third. It looked like they had it wrapped up with a nice bow. But they squeeze out the win. They get a win. They get the 2 points, and that's important at this point in the season. You're fighting for a playoff spot, and I mean, you're probably going to make the playoffs with players like Auston Matthews. So let me know what you think in the comments. Is Auston Matthews already the greatest Leaf of all time? I mean, this guy's unbelievable. And let me know what you think of the Leafs play so far without Morgan Rielly. Can they keep it up? Can they go 5-0? I think that would be incredible. And who knows? Morgan Rielly might even be back before the full 5 games, depending on his appeal. I think that would be interesting to keep an eye on too, but it'll probably be the full 5 games. But who knows? If the Leafs continue to play this well without him, great. They're in the playoff fight. So let me know what you think of those things in the comments, and we'll see you tomorrow for another video.